The U.S. military apparently has a zero civilian casualties policy for its airstrikes in Syria. Now, who could be against that? Who could be against zero civilian casualties? I think that you know who might be against it. Oh, John McCain, you've fallen so far. So here is the policy. There's a target of zero civilian casualties, so if there are civilian casualty concerns, we would continue to monitor a target or a potential target to see if there is a way to mitigate. That sounds reasonable. Understand that the U.S. has conducted almost 5,000 airstrikes against ISIS since August of last year and has substantiated only 2 civilian casualties. 5 other alleged casualty cases are under investigation. I would argue that they are not trying very hard to find civilian casualties if they've only found 2. And in practice, the strategy means that sudden developments on the ground can often force pilots to call off airstrikes. If a car suddenly drives up to an enemy checkpoint, for example, a strike would be delayed until it could be determined that no civilian was present. So that's the policy. But as we alluded to, there are those on Capitol Hill who do not find the idea of attempting to not kill civilians. They don't find that freaking acceptable. And the first is, in fact, John McCain, who says it's insane. 75% of those combat missions return to base without dropping a weapon. The air campaign is totally ineffectual. He might be right in that last sentence, but I don't think it's because we're trying not to kill civilians.
This guy is so ready to kill people and to drop the bombs. He's like, well, 75% of the time we didn't get to have any fun. We didn't get to shoot our load.
What's the point?
The point is you made a judgment call. A guy went up there and said, oh, if I shoot the bomb, I'm going to kill civilians down there. That might include children, people's grandmothers, their aunts, their uncles. I don't want to kill those innocent people. Oh, but I didn't get to shoot my rocket. No, we only got to shoot at 20. But you're up there all the time shooting 25%. It actually, as you're going to see in the numbers, that turns out to be a big number. It's not like we're not bombing. We're bombing the living crap out of them. Yeah. We're just trying to avoid civilian casualties. But I didn't get to shoot as much as I wanted to. Don't you care there are civilians down there? I mean, both for human reasons, moral reasons. I thought they were supposed to be the
Christian reasons, perhaps.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say. I thought they were supposed to be the Christians, right?
Pro-life, I've heard.
Pro-life, right? And then, secondly, for strategic reasons.
Yes.
If you go in there and you just because you wanted to have fun and shoot a greater percentage of the time, you kill a lot of civilians. Well, you're going to turn those civilians against us and make our jobs harder. Have you no sense of reason and intelligence? Forget decency.
Yeah.
Like, who says, like, bum, 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 and then we will get the people we bum, bum, I mean, come on, how stupid are you?
John McCain was not alone, of course. There's also Representative Martha McSally, a former Air Force colonel and A-10 pilot that is an air-to-ground attack aircraft. She says if we're trying to avoid one civilian casualty and not hitting a legitimate target, we're allowing the Islamic State to continue to commit atrocities and murder against the people on the ground. And how could we do that? We should be the ones murdering people on the ground.
No, we're back to Vietnam. That's right there. We had to destroy the village to save the village. I mean, if we don't kill the people on the ground, what are we going to do? Let ISIS do it?
Yeah.
If we don't stop ISIS from killing the people by killing the people, well, then what are we there for?
Yeah.
Are you insane? You know that in another quote, she said avoiding civilian casualties was, quote, an extreme constraint. Avoiding civilian casualties is now, according to Republican and lore, is an extreme constraint. You're so extreme. Yeah. You care about civilian casualties. But I thought terrorism was when you kill civilians for a political reason. So, okay, that's uncomfortable. That's uncomfortable, okay? Look at these bloodthirsty people.
Yeah.
They literally are outraged we're not killing enough civilians.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. They've also come up with an extremely sophisticated way to get out of any responsibility for the civilians they do kill. This is coming from Dave Deptula, retired Air Force Lieutenant General, who says, what the law of armed conflict requires is that all reasonable measures be taken to avoid collateral damage and civilian casualties. Now, if ISIL are using human shields, and those very unfortunate individuals get killed, well, that responsibility and blood lies on the hands of ISIL. Not us, not those who dropped the bombs, not those who led to the creation of ISIL in the first place. Let's forget about that for now. It lies in the hands of the people in the country, not us.
No, look, we invented this excuse, they're using human shields. We said it about Saddam Hussein. Israel says it about Hamas. Did some of those people use it at some point? Probably. I'm sure Saddam Hussein did. But then it morphed. It morphed from, no, Saddam would literally put civilians near his weapons because he knew that we might have some reluctance to bomb those weapons accordingly. To now, well, ISIS is in a civilian area, so they're using human shields. No, they're in that area because they control that area. They never put humans in, as far as I know. I mean, if you've got evidence to that effect, I'll be the first one to run the story, right? Now it's like, well, they're using their civilians as human shields. Well, we're not going to buy into that. We're going to kill all the civilians in order to protect them.
Then they lose their shield.
Yeah, So we knocked out your shield. You see how we protected the Syrian civilians? No, I don't see. You did the exact. They're so. I can almost see the blood dripping down like the corner of their mouth. Like, why didn't you let me kill him more? And this guy, they just do it out in the open. I mean, he go on and on. He says we're doing 12 strike sorties a day. Okay, so it's not like we're not bombing them. We're bombing them and bombing them. And as John pointed out, nearly 5,000 attacks where we bombed them. Right, and he says. The 12 attacks a day are a drizzle. Whereas he wanted a thunderstorm.
A drizzle of blood is not enough.
Yeah, he wanted a thunderstorm of dead civilian bodies on the ground. Why won't we allow it? And now look, let's turn around and give the Pentagon some credit here, okay? And whoever made this decision up top. Now, it might have been Obama, but we also found out today Obama's going to let the CIA continue to do drone strikes, which have been wildly inaccurate. And even our Pentagon is saying, well, look, it's not just us making the decision. We have a coalition there, and the coalition doesn't want us to kill civilians because the coalition includes Middle Eastern governments who live on the ground that know that if you kill the civilians, the other side gets stronger and will then turn on them, right? So they're like, oh, God damn it, the Arabs won't let us kill more innocent Arabs, right? Well, good. That's a rare good thing that the Saudi government might have done. I don't know, other governments are involved. Jordanian government perhaps being smart. That wouldn't be so rare. They usually do make good decisions, right? And here, if our Pentagon is part of that decision-making process, well, then we should give them credit for that, okay?
Exactly.
But for the people calling for more blood and literally calling for more civilian deaths, they lost the entire point of what we were supposed to be doing. They got so immersed in war. It's like I had that stupid shirt when I was a kid that I got from Key West that said, booze is the answer, I forgot the question. And these guys are now at a point where they're literally like, war is the answer, I forgot the question. I forgot why we were in there, but just let me bomb more civilians. Meanwhile, you know what the military said? Again, credit to the military that is in charge right now, not the retired guys, etc. Okay, here's one of the quotes. How we conduct ourselves in warfare against a terrorist enemy intermingled within the society that they have infiltrated will have profound impacts on the way in which the U.S. is viewed in the Middle East and in this campaign.
Thank God.
And then they added, and by the way, you schmucks, they didn't say schmucks, they said, we can't tell who's on the ground.
Yes.
You want us to drop the bomb, but we don't know who it is. So that's why we returned home 75% of the time, because we didn't know. And by the way, you know who else is on the ground? Especially in places like Ramadi, our allies. So you want me to drop the bomb, but I might be dropping on the guys who are fighting ISIS on the ground on our behalf. Why would I drop that bomb? Because there's guys with hard-ons here, back at home in America, saying, drop it, drop it, drop it, kill more civilians, right? You're sick. You're profoundly sick. That's what you are.